The Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer, edited by D. Lang Purves. The Manciple's Tale, the Prologue. Weet ye not where there stands a little town, which that ye called is Bob up and down, under the Blee in Canterbury way? There gan our host for to jape and play, and said Sirs, what, done is in the mire? Is there no man for prayer nor for hire that will awaken our fellow behind? A thief might full rob and bind. See how he nappeth, see, for cock's bones, as he would fall from his horse at once. Is that a cook of London, with mischance? Do him come forth, he knoweth his penance, for he shall tell a tale by my fay, although it be not worth a bottle of hay. Awake, thou cook, quoth he. God give thee sorrow. What aileth thee to sleep by the morrow? Hast thou had fleas all night, or art drunk? Or had thou with some queen all night y swunk, so that thou mayst not hold up thine head? The cook, that was full pale and nothing red, said to the host, So God my soul bless, as there is fallen on me such heaviness, I know not why, that me were lever sleep than the best gallon wine that is in cheap. Well, quoth the Manciple, if it may do ease to thee, Sir Cook, and to no wight displease which that here rideth in this company, and that our host will of his courtesy, I will as now excuse thee of thy tale. For in good faith thy visage is full pale, thine eye and days, soothly as me thinketh, and well I wot, thy breath full sour as stinketh, that showeth well thou art not well disposed. Of me certain thou shalt not be y-glossed. See how he yawneth. Lo, this drunken wight, as though he would us swallow anon right. Hold close thy mouth, man, by thy father's kin. The devil of hell set his foot therein. Thy cursed breath infecta will us all. Fly, stinking swine, fly, foul may thee befall. Ah, take heed, sirs, of this lusty man. Now, sweet sir, will ye joust at the fan? Thereto me thinketh ye be well ye shape. I trow that ye have drunken wine of ape, and that is when men play with a straw. And with this speech the cook waxed all raw, and on the Manciple he gan nod fast for lack of speech, and down his horse Tim cast, whereas he lay, till that men him uptook. This was a fair chevachie of a cook. Alas, that he held him by his ladle, and ere that he again were in the saddle, there was great shoving both to and fro to lift him up, and much care and woe, so unwieldy was the silly paled ghost. And to the Manciple then spake our host, Cause that drink hath domination upon this man, by my salvation I trow he lewdly will tell his tale. For were it wine, or old or moisty ale, that he hath drunk, he speaketh in his nose, and sneezeth fast, and eke he hath a pose, he also hath to do more than enough to keep him on his capel out of the slough. And if he fall from off his capel eftsoon, then shall we all have enough to do'n in lifting up his heavy drunken course. Tell on thy tale, of him I make no force. But yet, Manciple, in faith thou art too nice thus openly to reprove him of his vice. Another day he will peradventure reclaim thee, and bring thee to the lore. I mean he speak a will of smalle things, as for to pinchen at thy reckonings, that were not honest if it came to prafe. Quoth the Manciple, that were a great mischief, so might he lightly bring me in the snare. Yet had I lever pay for the mare which he rides on, than he should with me strive. I will not wrathe him, so may I thrive. That I spake, I said it in my boord. And weet ye what, I have here in my gourd a draught of wine, yea, of a ripe grape, and right anon ye shall see a good jape. This cook shall drink thereof, if that I may, on pain of my life he will not say nay. And certainly, to tell it as it was, of this vessel the cook drank fast. Alas, what he needed it, he drank enough before. And when he had pooped in his horn, to the Manciple he took the gourd again, and of that drink the cook was wondrous fain, and thanked him in such wise as he could. Then gan our host to laugh a wondrous loud, and said, I see well it is necessary where that we go good drink with us to carry, for that will turn rancour and disease to accord and love, and many a wrong appease. O Bacchus, Bacchus, blessed be thy name, that so canst turn an earnest into gain. Worship and thank be to thy deity. Of that matter ye get no more of me. Tell on thy tale, Manciple, I thee pray. Well, sir, quoth he, now hearken what I say. The Manciple's Tale. When Phoebus dwelled here in earth adown, as olde bookes make mention, He was the most lusty bachelor of all this world, and eke the best archer. He slew Python the serpent as he lay sleeping against the sun upon a day, and many another noble worthy deed he with his bow wrought, as men may read. Playen he could on every minstrelsy, and singe that it was a melody to hearen of his clear voice the sun. Certes, the king of Thebes, Amphion, that with his singing walled the city, could never sing half so well as he. Thereto he was the seemliest man that is, or was since that the world began. What needeth it his features to describe? For in this world is none so fair alive. He was therewith full filled of gentleness, of honour, and of perfect worthiness. This Phoebus, that was flower of bachelery, as well in freedom as in chivalry, for his disport and sign eke of victory of Python, so as telleth thus the story, was wont to bear in his hand a bow. Now had this Phoebus in his house a crow, which in a cage he fostered many a day, and taught it speaken, as men teach a jay. White was this crow, as is a snow-white swan, and counterfeit the speech of every man he could, when he shoulde tell a tale. Therewith in all this world no nightingale ne could by 100,000 deal sing so wondrous merrily and well. Now had this Phoebus in his house a wife, which that he loved more than his life, and night and day did ever his diligence her for to please, and do her reverence, save only, if that I the sooth shall sayn, jealous he was, and would have kept her fain. For him were loth y japed for to be, and so is every wight in such degree. But all for naught, for it availeth naught. A good wife, that is clean of work and thought, should not be kept in none await certain, and truly the labour is in vain to keep a shrew, for it will not be. This hold I for a very nicety, to spill labour for to keep a wives. Thus written olde clerks in their lives. But now to purpose, as I first began. This worthy Phoebus did all that he can to please her, weening, through such pleasance, and for his manhood and his governance, that no man should have put him from her grace. But, God it wot, there may no man embrace as to distrain a thing which that nature hath naturally set in a creature. Take any bird, and put it in a cage, and do all thine intent and thy courage to foster it tenderly with meat and drink of all the dainties that thou canst bethink, and keep it all so cleanly as thou may. Although the cage of gold be never so gay, yet had this bird by 20,000-fold lever in a forest, both wild and cold, go eat of worms in such wretchedness. For ever this bird will do his business, to escape out of the cage when that he may. His liberty the bird desireth, aye. Let take a cat, and foster her with milk and tender flesh, and make her couch of silk, and let her see a mouse go by the wall. Anon she waveth milk and flesh and all, and every dainty that is in the house, such appetite hath she to eat the mouse. Lo, here hath kind her domination, and appetite flameth discretion. A she-wolf hath also a villain's kind, the lewdest wolf that she may find, or least of reputation will she take in time when her lust to have a make. All these examples speak I by these men that be untrue, and nothing by women. For men have ever a liquorous appetite on lower things to perform their delight than on their wives, be they never so fair, never so true, nor so debonair. Flesh is so new-fangled with mischance, that we can in no thing have pleasance that sooneth unto virtue any while. This Phoebus, which that thought upon no guile, deceived was for all his jollity. For under him another had a she, a man of little reputation, not worth the Phoebus in comparison. The more harm is, it happens often so, of which there cometh much a harm and woe. And so befell, when Phoebus was absent, his wife anon hath for her leman sent. Her leman, certes that is a knavish speech. Forgive it me, and that I you beseech. The wise Plato saith, as ye may read, the word must needs accord with the deed. If men shall tell properly a thing, the word must cousin be to the working. I am a boisterous man, right thus I say. There is no difference truly betwixt a wife that is of high degree, if of her body dishonest she be, and any poor wench, other than this, if it so be they work both amiss. But for the gentle is in estate above, she shall be called his lady and his love. And for that other is a poor woman, she shall be called his wench and his leman. And God it wot, mine owen dear brother, men lay the one as low as lies the other. Right so betwixt a titulous tyrant and an outlaw, or else a thief errant. The same I say, there is no difference. To Alexander told was this sentence: But for the tyrant is of greater might, by force of mine for to slay downright, and burn both house and home, and make all plain. Lo, therefore is he called a capitaine. For the outlaw hath but small mind, and may not do so great as harm as he, nor bring a country to so great mischief. Men call him an outlaw or a thief. But for I am a man not textual, I will not tell of text never a deal. I will go to my tale as I began. When Phoebus' wife had sent him for her leman, anon they wrought in all their lust volage. The white crow that hung aye in the cage beheld their work, and said never a word. And when that home was come Phoebus the lord, the crow sung cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. What, bird, quoth Phoebus, what song singest thou now? Wert thou not once so merrily to sing, that to my heart it was a rejoicing to hear thy voice? Alas, what song is this? By God, quoth he, I sing not amiss, Phoebus, quoth he, for all thy worthiness, for all thy beauty, and all thy gentleness, for all thy song and all thy minstrelsy, for all thy waiting, bleared is thine eye with one of little reputation. Not worth to thee is in comparison the mountenance of a gnat. So may I thrive, for on thy bed thy wife I saw him swive. What will ye more? The crow told him anon, by sad tokens and by words bold, how that his wife had done her lechery, to his great shame and his great villainy, and told him oft, he saw it with his eyen. This Phoebus gan a wayward for to Ryan, him thought his wilful heart to burst in two. His bow he bent, and set therein a flow, and in his ire he hath his wife slain. This is the effect, there is no more to sayn. For sorrow of which he brake his minstrelsy, both heart and lute, gittern and psaltery, and eke he brake his arrows and his bow, and after that thus spake he to the crow. Traitor, quoth he, with tongue of scorpion thou hast me brought to my confusion. Alas, that I was wrought! Why ne'er I dead? O deare wife, O gem of lusty head, thou wert to me so sad, and eke so true. Now liest thou dead, with face pale of hue, full guiltless, that durst I swear, O eyes, of rackle hand to do foul amiss. O troubled wit, O ire reckless, thou inadvised smitest the guiltless. O wantrust, full of false suspicion, where was thy wit and thy discretion? O every man beware of rackleness, no trow no thing without a strong witness. Smite not too soon, ere that ye weet a why, and be advised well and sickerly, ere ye do any execution upon your ire for suspicion. Alas, 1,000 folk hath rackle ire foully fordone, and brought them in the mire. Alas, for sorrow I will myself slee. And to the crow, O false thief, said he, I will thee quite anon thy false tale. Thou sung whilom like any nightingale. Now shalt thou, false thief, thy song forgone, and eke thy white feathers every one. Nor ever in all thy life shalt thou speak. Thus shall men on a traitor be a wreak. Thou and thine offspring ever shall be blake, nor ever sweet a noise shall ye make, but ever cry against the tempest and the rain, in token that through thee my wife is slain. And to the crow he start, and that anon he pulled his white feathers every one, and made him black, and reft him all his song, and eke his speech, and out at door him flung unto the devil, which I him betake. And for this cause be all crows blake. Lordings, by this ensample I you pray, beware, and take heep what that ye say. Nor tell a never man in all your life, how that another man hath dight his wife. He will you hate mortally certain. Dan Solomon, as wise clerk is saying, teacheth a man to keep his tongue well. But, as I said, I am not textual. But natheless, thus taught to me my dame, my son, think on a crow, and God his name. My son, keep well thy tongue, and keep thy friend. A wicked tongue is worse than a fiend. My son, from a fiend men may them bless. My son, God of his endless goodness walled a tongue with teeth, and lips eke, for man should him advise what he speak. My son, full often for too much a speech hath many a man been spilt, as clerkes teach. But for a little speech advisedly is no man shent, to speak generally. My son, thy tongue shouldest thou restrain at all a time, but when thou dost, thou pain to speak of God and honour and prayer, The firste virtue, son, if thou wilt lear, is to restrain and keep well thy tongue. Thus learne children when that they be young. My son, of muche speaking evil advised, where lesse speaking had enough sufficed, cometh much harm. Thus was me told and taught, and muche speeche sinne wanteth not. Wast thou whereof a rackle tongue serveth? Right as a sword for cutteth and for carveth an arm in two, my dear son. Right so a tongue cutteth friendship all in two. A jangler is to God abominable. Read Solomon, so wise and honourable. Read David in his psalms, and read Seneca. My sons, speak not, but with thine head thou beck. Dissemble as thou wert deaf, if that thou hear a jangler speak of perilous mattere. The Fleming saith, and learn if that thee lest, that little jangling causeth much arrest. My son, if thou no wicked word hast said, thee are not dreade for to be bewrayed. But he that hath missaid, I dare well sayn, he may by no way call his word again. Thing that is said, and forth it goeth. Though him repent, or be he ne'er so loth, he is his thrall to whom that he hath said a tale, of which he is now evil apaid. My son, beware, and be no author new of tidings, whether they be false or true. Whereso thou come among us high or low, keep well thy tongue, and think upon the crow. End of the Manciple's tale.